Shalom. Just a quick disclaimer. If you're here because you want your ears tickled, this is not the channel for you. All right, let's continue. Shalom, shalom, shalom. It's been a minute. And to address the elephant in the room, this is oil. I got oil on my shirt. I didn't dribble or anything on my shirt. Anyway, I'm just going to get right into it. So I'm going to be reading Marcus 5, 1-20, and then I'm going to get into why you're finally seeing me after so long. All right. And they came over unto the other side of the sea, into the country of the Girgashim. And when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean Ruach, who had his dwelling among the tombs, and no man could bind him, no, not with chains. Because that he had been often bound with fetters and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder by him, and the fetters broken in pieces, neither could any man tame him. And always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. But when he saw Yahusha afar off, he ran and worshipped him, and he cried with a loud voice and said, What have I to do with you, Yahusha, son of Alahym? I adjure you by Alahym that you torment me not. For he had said unto him, Come out of the man, you unclean Ruach. And he asked him, What is your name? And he answered, saying, My name is Legion, for we are many. And he besought him much that he would not send them away out of the country. Now there was there nigh unto the mountains a great herd of swine feeding, and all the devils besought him, saying, Send us into the swine, that we may enter into them. And forthwith Yahusha gave them leave, and the unclean Ruach went out and entered into the swine, and the herd ran violently down a steep place into the sea. They were about 2,000, and were choked in the sea. And they that fed the swine fled, and told it in the city and in the country. And they went out to see what it was that was done. And they come to Yahusha and see him that was possessed with the devil, and had the legion sitting and clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. And they that saw it told them how it befell to him that was possessed with the devil, and also concerning the swine. And they began to pray him to depart out of their coast. And when he was come into the ship, he that had been possessed with the devil prayed him that he might be with him. Howbeit Yahusha suffered him not, but said unto him, Go home to your friends and tell them how great things Adonai has done for you, and has had compassion on you. And he departed and began to publish in Decapolis how great things Yahusha had done for him, and all the men did marvel. So this actually came about because recently there's been a lot of people, myself included, that have been kind of like noticing there's been a ramp up in the spiritual warfare that we've been facing, particularly from a particular group, but I'm not going to go into that. That's not what this channel is about. But I will say this much. One of the things that Ruach HaQodesh wanted me to remind you of is when Ruach HaQodesh, who's supposed to be dwelling in you, steps onto the scene, he commands the unclean Ruachs to expose themselves. Okay? So when you, who has the Ruach HaQodesh dwelling within you, step into any environment, Ruach HaQodesh commands any unclean Ruach, which are spirits, to expose themselves, just like you saw happen. So Yahusha steps on the scene, and this man runs down to him, and Yahusha tells the Ruachs that are within this man to come out, and they're like, yo, can we go into this swine? What am I saying? The same Ruach that was in Yahusha when he came in the flesh now dwells in us, Ruach HaQodesh. At least, hopefully he does, because if he doesn't, that would explain the reason why you have no power. But Ruach HaQodesh, if he is dwelling in you, when you step onto the scene, I don't care if you're at the grocery store, the doctor's office, just out and about, or at work. When you step onto the scene, Ruach HaQodesh within you is going to cause the other Ruachs inside or attached to other people to manifest themselves. As a matter of fact, this is what Ruach HaQodesh said. He commands the unclean Ruachs to make themselves known. Okay? So we need to start expecting to see unclean Ruachs manifest in and around us through people. This shouldn't be something that's new to us. It shouldn't be something that catches us off guard. It shouldn't be something that upsets us. It's supposed to happen. Like when you are Yahuwah's child. You're Yahuwah's child. It's going to happen. So Variations of this account can also be found in Matthew 8:28-34 and Lucas 8:26-39. And I'm just saying that because somebody might go and read the other variations and be like, well, that's not what it said, because I want to say in the Matthew account, it says it was 2 men. You're missing the point if that's what your mind is going to right now. The whole point is Ruach HaQodesh commands the unclean ruachos to expose themselves. So wherever you are, ask Yahuah what your purpose is for being there. So the biggest example that I can think to use is your job. Because a lot of us, especially those of us who are Yahuah's children, and we still have to work in this Babylonian system, a lot of us are experiencing exactly what we just read in Marcus 5. These unclean spirits is starting to really manifest in and through our co-workers and a lot of times our bosses. Okay. So your job, you're employed at that job, but you work for Yahuah. That means Yahuah has you there for a reason, but Satan will attempt to distract you with the cares of this world. Like, how will I pay my bills if I lose my job? Or wanting to have the respect of your coworkers, or not want to offend anyone. You know what I'm saying? Like, those will be the cares of this world that Satan tries to distract you with, to keep you silent and to keep you from walking in the power that has been afforded to you via Ruach HaQodesh. You have to be so determined. I'm sorry, I got notes, you guys. You know, if I don't have notes, I'm going to wind up babbling. You have to be so determined to obey Yahuah that you're willing to lose your job to do it. Otherwise, Satan has you in bondage. You have to be willing to lose your job. The people at my job understand that I don't care what you think about me. They understand that. They understand I don't care what you think about me, and you could fire me tomorrow and boom, guess what? You're going to take care of me because he's been taking care of me all this time. Like, there's nothing they can do or say to me that would cause me to go, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that. No, because I'm not bowing down to anybody's demons. As a matter of fact, we finna cast these suckers out, okay? Because we have been afforded this in the inheritance that was passed down to us by Yahushua HaMashiyakh. So it's time that we start walking in that. Remember that when you go to work, every unclean ruach around has to make itself known to you so you can cast it out. It's not just making itself known so you know it's there. There's a purpose for it making itself known. What did Yahushua do? He didn't leave that man plagued with all these demons. He cast the demons out. That is what we are supposed to be doing. We work for Yahuah. And I'm talking to myself too, because sometimes I forget that. Sometimes I get caught up in the, you know what, these folks is getting on my nerves. I know we've all done it. I'm human, you're human. But at the end of the day, we have an inheritance. And part of that inheritance is walking this life, this walk out the same way our king did. He didn't be like, man, y'all got all these demons. Y'all starting to get on my nerves. Y'all talking mess about me all the time. Pharisees always want to call me a devil and stuff. Like, that's not what he did. That's bondage. That's bondage. That's bondage. Are you in bondage? Because I'm free. Whom the Son makes free is free indeed. I'm free. I'm not in bondage. None of us have time. And I know it sounds like I'm fussing. I'm not fussing. This is meant to encourage. I'm really bad at making it sound like it's meant to encourage. But again, if you like the truth, it's going to encourage you. So at the end of the day, Toda, Ruach HaQodesh. The problem is we don't recognize the power dwelling in us via Ruach HaQodesh. And in some cases, there are some who think Ruach HaQodesh is dwelling in them, and he isn't. So there's some folks walking around here think they got the power to cast out devils, and they don't. Like, you haven't given your life to Yahushua HaMashiyakh. He hasn't, like, he doesn't know you. You were given the name by a man, and you're following man-made traditions, and you think because now you have the revelation that you're Yasharal, that all of a sudden demons are just supposed to fall at your feet. That's not how that happens. You have to have Ruach HaQodesh. You have to be born again of water and Ruach. Yahushua said that. So let's start reevaluating our relationship. Just knowing that you're Yasharal and having the right name, none of that matters if he doesn't know you. You You see what I'm saying? Are you spending time with him? Do you know his real name? And what I mean by that is his name is not really what we call him. His name is his nature and his character. So do you know his name? Because if you know his name, you're going to be walking in his name, i.e. his nature and character, which means that your life is going to imitate his life. You see what I'm saying? So we stay in a place of defeat and helplessness instead of walking in the power and authority of our Adonai that he left to us as an inheritance. Again, this is not meant to discourage anybody. And I read 1 through 20 just so you guys would understand the entirety of that particular story or account that was told in Marcus. But really, I just want to encourage you guys that, listen, I understand it's hard, it's frustrating, but Ruach HaQodesh is dwelling in you. You're not at that place, wherever you are. I hate the place that I'm at, but I understand I'm not there to do that job. I mean, yes, I do that job. But I'm employed by that company, but I work for Yahuah. Are you okay? Okay. So just remember that. You're there for a reason and a purpose. And sometimes we're getting frustrated because we're there longer than we need to be because we haven't yet asked Yahuah, what is your purpose for having me here in the first place? And understand this. Your purpose is always going to be to carry out his will. And one thing I want to remind you of is you are either a blessing or a judgment against the people you come across. Because when you're walking in Yahuwah's righteousness, if they receive you and the truth that you're speaking, and well, if they receive you, they're receiving Yahusha, and in turn they're receiving Yahuwah, and then they're receiving whatever it is that he's doing in and through you. So you're a blessing to them. However, if they don't receive you, you are to knock the dust up off your feet, and you now become a judgment against them. That's what it was talking about in Lucas 10, 1 to 20. Lucas 10, 1 to 20. I don't know why they're both 1 to 20. Anyway, so let's start walking in power because it's only going to continue to get darker. We're seeing all these things going around in the world and we're getting upset and we're starting to make videos about, oh, this is going on because of this and this is going on because of that. Everything is going on because Yahusha is coming back. Point blank, period. That's all you need to know. Get yourself right with him. Otherwise, it doesn't matter if you can sit here and break down all the laws and the reasons why folks is doing it. It doesn't matter because he's at the end of the day, if you don't know him, he's going to say, away from me. I never knew you, you workers of lawlessness. All right. Pray you guys have a great rest of the day. I love you. Much shalom and ahav. Until next time, shalom alaikum.